Welcome back to the kickoff. We are joined today by two lads who are raring to go on. KG, who was extremely hungover. He was a bit... I had to get him out of bed for this one. Today we're talking the strikers who moved in the summer, lads. The ones who... A lot of big money moves. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't worked. Maybe some of it will work in the future. We're going to get into it. We're going to grade each striker and then we're going to rank them at the end of this video. So let us know in the comments if you disagree with the rankings. But I've got to start with the list. It's Yarez at the top of the list here. 55 plus 9 million he moved for. He got 9 starts so far, 3 goals, a goal in every 3 starts. Alexander Isak, 125 million he moved for, lads. 4 starts, 1 goal. Not quite happening for him yet. Ekit, 69 million plus 10 million, 6 starts, 3 goals. Pretty good from him so far. Seshko, 5 starts, 2 goals after a 66 million plus 7.5 later deal. Xiao Pedro, he moved for 60 million, 8 starts, 2 goals for him so far. Dilap, he moved for 30 million, obviously not the biggest money by any means here. 2 starts, 0 goals, he's got injured. Similarly, Isak, also injured after a 55 million move, hasn't even started a game yet, nightmare. And my guy, Volto, moved for 69 million, and he's got 5 starts, 4 goals. Unbelievable start. I want to talk about him, start off with, lads, because earlier in this summer window, you said, welcome to life without a world-class striker. And I said, I'm not actually sure that's what I'm about to see, lads, because I think this lad can do it all. A month later, proof is in the pudding, and he can't do it all. I'm absolutely blown away by this lad. I made a few notes about his time in Germany because I think the writing was on the wall, actually, in that Ekit got 15 goals in 31 starts, pretty much a goal in every other game. Seshko, 13 goals in 30 starts, not quite as good, still good. Volto only started 17 games because he started playing later in the season. They only realised what they had. 12 goals in 17 starts. That's better than 2 goals in every 3 games. And I think he's continuing that form for Newcastle at the minute. And for a 23-year-old to see the problems that Wirtz is having right now at Liverpool, at the champions, playing with a new team, playing in a new league, for him to adapt to the league when Liverpool fans are still talking about when Isak adapts, I think it says a lot. What can you just tell me to start off with? What have you made of him so far?
I had an argument recently about this guy because someone was saying that he's the best he might be the best of the bunch, saying that, you know, he's got this, he's tall, he looks like he can play. He looks like like Newcastle have done really well. They've landed on their feet. That's what they've said, you know. But I immediately have to push back and I have to talk about degree of difficulty, you know, like I think a lot of players can go to Newcastle and score goals and then after they leave and then become like what Isak's going through and stuff. It's just natural that the level of pressure is everything. So I think we have to put an asterisk to those goals and look at them from a different lens, personally. I don't know what you lot. I don't know about you lot.
There's a lack of pressure. There's a lack of pressure, he said. It's easy to
to be fair, KG, right, to you, Ryan has used one of these goals, and one of the goals was against Union Saint-Gilloise, which I've always rated as a team. They are a quality outfit, probably the best team in the Champions League, to be fair. So I'm glad you've included that, Brian. Well done. You've done your research, Brian. You've done your research, and I respect the research. I respect the data, and I love it how you've laid it all out. But we're talking about 7 games into a season, you're glazing over a striker which you do not know if he's going to have the same power in the Premier League. He started well.
I haven't even started.
Have you played the hardest games in the world? Has he scored against big teams, Brian?
He scored against Arsenal.
Scored against Arsenal.
Mate, best defence in the world, he scored a header. And I have to say, that was the moment for me, because I was ready to do this chat. I was ready to do he scored against some bad teams. And then he fucking outheads Gabriel. And I was like, oh shit, this guy actually might be
Jacob, be honest. Was there a slight, you know, in that?
Oh, there's always a twist on the back. There's always 2 hands on the back at Newcastle. St James's Park, the referees are paid off, the invoices are paid before they step on the pitch. Listen, where I'm going to back Brian a little bit, all of our strikers have played against shit teams. I watched fucking Yarez huff and puff against Olympiacos, mate. I didn't score a goal. What about Xiao Pedro? What about some of the teams you've played, Josh?
Jacob, just on this, right? What I love about Brian is he's just gone through and he said, like, you know, goals, he starts, but what he hasn't said is assists. And, you know, also quite important, I would say, in terms of the overall. And if you add Xiao Pedro's assists, which, by the way, are 3, more than every other striker that has been signed this summer so far, you start to realise, actually, 5 goal contributions in 8 games in which we've had 3 sending offs. It's actually all right.
I'm not
to be fair.
Xiao Pedro, and we will.
I'm glad you're not.
We will get onto him, but like the difference being, and the reason I went for goals is because obviously that's the main job of a striker, but secondary, Newcastle's players who are playing around Volto, and this is something I really need to stress. The technical gap that I've seen from a 23-year-old lad who's been here a month and everybody else in our side is massive. Like, you're looking at Anthony Gordon, players who are around him, who you think, you've come into a new league. Anthony Gordon should be, as he tried to do, we tried to mug him off by taking the penalties, by the way, and he should be the one leading the way. He's not. He's miles off of this guy. And by the way, the whole midfielder, the level of technical ability I'm seeing from Volto, it's a gulf for me. And the fact that he's only 23, I've got a lot of, I'm excited to see, because right, like you were saying, it's only a month. Could this go completely different? It could do. Do you know what? I don't think it's going to. I think he's going to be a real fucking player. I think we're looking at someone who potentially, I've never seen anyone like him. I've never seen a 6'6" player with the touch, the technical ability, the dribbling. His dribbling is some of the best in the Premier League, and he's one of the biggest players in the league. Then you add the fact that he can outhead Arsenal centre-backs. He gave them a horrible time. And there's another thing that no one's really acknowledged is his passing ability is the best in the Newcastle side. I don't even see anyone who can pass the ball as cleverly as Dennis Bergkamp in the vision he's got.
What's going on? Mate, what are we doing today? What are we doing?
Can I just say as well, Brian, to back that up, before we do that, KG, his passing accuracy is 85%. It's fucking unreal numbers for a striker.
Yeah,
that's really good.
He had a game the other day. His passing accuracy was 100% in the game. And there was passes, and it wasn't like, lay it off to the player next to you. It was, let me chip this over and you're through on goal type passes. Like, if he could play with himself instead of having to play with our midfield and wingers, God knows what he would be able to do, because the runs he makes,
this is it though, but
they're very unpredictable.
But this is it. When you go to, I said that if Seshko joined Newcastle, I believe he has the exact same impact. Because one, they have a manager that is going to play to a player, and it's going to go through him. They're not going to waste time. They're not going to be stupid. They're not going to be numpties and not, like, you go to your strongest player and you use him. And I think what he's getting in that team compared to the other teams that we're talking about is, you have to go through this player because you're not looking for the quality anywhere else. Now, if you talk about Arsenal, you're going to say, well, Eze, Erdegaard, Martinelli, there's options. If you go to Chelsea, you'll say there's different ways they're going to skin the cat. Now, Man United, I don't know why we don't go to this player, considering our quality hasn't shown itself, but they're going other places. This is why I think he has more of a chance to shine compared to other places.
Can I say one more thing on that? Can I just add one more thing? One thing I do agree with on that, and I think you've seen this a little bit with Isak at Liverpool. One thing Newcastle do is they play fucking fast. When you're playing well, you play through the thirds fast, right? And that means you've got much more unsettled defences to try and create chances against and score goals against. And I think you can already see a little bit with Isak that he's not having that at Liverpool. It's like, I think Liverpool has slowed down a bit this season. I think that's one thing that Slot's introduced, and I think he's finding it a little bit more difficult. When Arsenal were looking at strikers this summer, it was a big thing, and especially with Yarez, I was like, he is not going to get the space at Arsenal that he was getting at Lisbon. Whereas I think with Newcastle, that's one where I would agree with KG. When you boys are good, you're quick, and you don't muck around, and you break fast, and it means there's a little bit more space. And that's not a criticism, that's a compliment to house football.
No, I completely understand why you're saying that, and the fact that he's come in, done well, Isak struggling, and it's a different type of football. I think the theory makes sense, but in reality, I don't agree with you, because Alexander Isak, and I'm looking forward to comparing this because I know people are going to get wound up now. Alexander Isak, you could argue, does certain things better than Volto, but not many. He's faster than him, which when you're playing on the last shoulder, as Newcastle like to play back in the day when we had Isak, he's faster than him, and that does help. And you could argue maybe he shoots better than him. The data size I'm saying, it's hard to say for sure, but let's say he does, right? Yeah, he does those two things, and that's going to help you as a striker. The two are the main things you need, right? And when you're playing on the last shoulder, that's why it worked well with Isak at Newcastle. Volto does every single thing other than those two things better, and not even close. And it's not the level of footballer Volto is away from the box. It's night and day.
Can I interject though? Are you talking about the Isak you saw at Newcastle? Are you talking about the Isak at Liverpool?
The point I'm making is, the thing that people forgot about Isak is when Newcastle were against a low block, he, occasionally he would pop up and do something fantastic, but a lot of the time he'd struggle because he didn't get the space. The difference between him and Volto is Volto creates space. Isak needed the whole team to be set up to help him score goals. With Volto, he helps the team score goals because he's a smarter footballer, and he actually brings other people into play. The amount in the last game alone, we talk about assists, he sent 2 Newcastle players through on fucking goal. He creates as much as he scores. It's just the other players need to be as smart as he is to know what he's going to do next. A problem that people like we've seen Berbatov have had in the past, where he's 10 steps ahead of his teammates sometimes. And
I have to say that I have to call cap. I'm sorry, because if we're talking about the Newcastle Isak, I know the Liverpool one stinks because he just hasn't got going. But I've watched Isak bring the ball down and turn chances into. I didn't even think that's a chance. Let's talk about when he played against Arsenal, and it's like, you're the difference. You're the reason. You get the ball and you're through. Like, he will create a chance out.
But he's through on goal.
There's moments when
he's not doing off the ball. He's not doing away from the box stuff that Volto does. He's not bringing other players. He is on the last shoulder. The ball bounces. He latches onto it. Back of the net. Like, that's the kind of striker he is.
You got to be fair. I've watched him beat 6 men to run down a touchline in a
You see that happen one time.
Yeah.
The point is week in, week out, that's not what Alexander Isak does. Week in, week out, he's on the last shoulder, and if there's not enough space in behind, as Liverpool are finding out right now, he's not as effective. Whereas even Volto, if he doesn't score, he's going to help you a lot in the actual game to try and get the team a goal.
One thing I will say that I do think helps your argument, Brian, he's 2 or 3 years younger. It's his first month in the Premier League, straight from the Bundesliga. I do think there's an interesting conversation to be had of where was Isak a few weeks into his career in the Premier League, and where could Volto be in 2 or 3 years' time? And I think to maybe broaden it out a little bit, where could someone like Ekit be in 2 or 3 years' time? So I'm looking at that generation. I think for the last 3-4 years, we've had a bit of a dead generation of strikers, really. Like, it's Haaland and everyone else. Isak got there for a year, 18 months, but prior to that, we weren't having that conversation with Isak.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the crop of 22, 23-year-olds now, and I think they've got the potential to go even further than Isak has gone. And a lot of that is fitness as well. You have to say that. That's one thing that so far we've seen with Ekit and Volto. They've been available for the first 6 weeks. Let's see what they're going to do the rest of the season. But I do think there's things there, like you say about Volto's all-round game. And I'd also say the same for Ekit, that they could go even further than Isak's done by the time they're 25, 26.
What's mad about the Volto one, though, before we leave Volto, why was he therefore your 8th choice? Like, why did you not go for him straight away if you rate him so highly? I don't understand that.
I can only assume that the small sample size of how many games he played last season was a worry, and that we were behind Bayern Munich in negotiations, and we thought, he's a German lad, he's going to go to Bayern. And they just went for it at the last second and hoped for the best. For me, the only player who I'm looking at in the summer transfer window who I'd go maybe used to or in competition, and the longer this goes on, we don't know how good Ekit can be, but I look at him and I go, you could make an argument maybe Ekit, but I'm so happy we got him, because when you talk about will he make it, will he continue this way, I believe he will. Not necessarily fucking 4 goals in every 5 fucking games, but I think he'll be a top player for us, because the ice in his veins that Alexander Isak had, I seen that from Voldemort countless times already. And when he took that penalty the other day, and Anthony Gordon had robbed him of 2 penalties, he could have 6 goals in 5 games if it wasn't for fucking Anthony Gordon, who got sent off earlier this season, missed 3 games, gets rewarded with being our penalty taker somehow. And he put the best fucking penalty in the top corner that you could arguably that anyone's ever fucking seen. I think he's a serious player. Personally, I'm going to give him an A for a start. And let me know what you rate him, lads.
I think it's fair to say it's an A, considering he's going in there. There's a big chasm, the gap that's left by the mighty Isak. And again, luckily he has a great ground of fans that want to love him immediately because of what's happened. But yeah, he's delivered. It's an A. It's A. So
anyone disagree? No,
I'll go like A- because he hasn't nailed it, but he's got the potential.
Isak, we'll just jump straight onto him because I think it's funny how this has all come back to bite him in the arse. The way he conducted himself in the summer, his fitness levels have been clearly miles off it. Like there's some clips online of him like holding onto his knees, like breathing heavy in the middle of a game and that, and also just the lack of just a full pre-season and that. So what do we make of him so far at Liverpool? Is it a complete and utter disappointment, or has he shown anything?
That touch that he takes, even though he doesn't truly mean it, but a lot of strikers' touches can be like that. You know, the one that I think Gakpo jumps onto.
Yeah. It was a very
we've seen him do stuff like that. The fact that he didn't trap it the way perfectly for himself and get the shot off, it is what it is. But we know he has that potential. And I think I hate it because we're going to see him next. So I've got to be careful with this grading because I want to slate him. And
Did you see the highlights of the Sweden game he just played? He looked rough as arseholes and that
rough,
as well.
He looked rough.
He looked terrible.
Yeah.
I think he's struggling with, again, like we said in our Liverpool video, not being the main man and having to share, like having Mo Salah cut in. Salah sees him in the box, but Salah's like, I'm the main man. I've been the main man. You're just some guy who just got here. Like, and he treated him that way when he skied it over the bar. And you can see Isak going, if that was fucking Jacob Murphy, there's no fucking thought in Jacob Murphy's head to go, I'm the main man. It's on a plate. It's all And now, a word from our sponsors. The chances are your data is already out there online right now, and companies / thieves and criminals could be easily using that against you without you even knowing. And we all get it. The spam emails, the dodgy phone calls. It's not a coincidence. They've got that from someone. But the good news is Incogni is here to help you make sure that your information stays private. Because these guys who collect all of this data are called data brokers. And they basically sell your information to whoever the fuck they like. And they don't give a shit about the fact that it's your private information. But Incogni will police these guys on your behalf and make sure that your information does not fall into the hands of anyone. And all you have to do is click the link in the description below, create your Incogni account, input the details of the people whose information you don't want out there, and then you just grant them permission to work on your behalf, and they will scour the internet protecting you. And Incogni is risk-free for 30 days, so if you try it and it's not for you, you get a full refund. And the good news is, with my link, you'll get 60% off your annual plan. So take back your data using my link in the description below. Go to incogni.com/kickoff for 60% off. And the Newcastle fans are making a joke about it, saying, you bought the iPhone, but you forgot the charger, being Jacob Murphy's your fucking the guy who powers it.
Mate, I think this is a broader thing for Liverpool. Who's the charger? Who's the assister? Who's the creator in that system? We've spent 4 or 5 years watching that be Trent Alexander-Arnold over the box, over the top, first time, finds Salah on the run, finds Mane on the run, creating from deep. We've seen other players who are part of that setup being the creator. Who's the creator at Liverpool at the moment?
It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
They've got loads of though, haven't they? Like that's. I think that's Josh, harsh. Salah will end up being a creator. The other winger on the other side will end up being a creator. They've got stoppers like they've got McAllister. All of them will have assists this season.
They will get assists, but they're not Luis Diaz like created purely for the job of the striker. Being like, I feel like Gakpo, like he's a player who, yes, he's going to help, but he's also He's half an eye on goal.
He scores important goals.
He's wanting the goals as well. Like they're not as selfless as what Isak needs people to be around.
This is what I'm trying to say. I'm not disagreeing. Like obviously, like Salah's one of the best playmakers in the league. The passes he's capable of, the vision he has. I'm not saying he doesn't do that, but as Brian says, his primary function in that team is the finisher. He's there to finish. I agree with KG that with Gakpo, do I think of him as someone who's creative, who's going to unlock a low block? No, I think of him as someone who's going to finish at the back post. Like, I think this could be a fresh challenge for Isak. Like I said earlier, when we were looking at strikers in the summer for Arsenal, we were going, who can play against a box of 10 players? Who can find a bit of space in the box? Who can finish in the air? We know that Isak can do that, but as we say, you think of his highlights. I think of him running defenders who are running back at their own goal. That's what I think of as a classic Isak goal. I think of him, Gordon and Murphy fucking racing at a team, and one of them provides the cutback and Isak finishes. I know he can score headers, but it's not his primary way of scoring goals, is it, Brian?
No, decent header of the ball, I can't lie. But I mean, it was a rarity. It was a rarity.
He's not even Seshko, really. Like Seshko's a player who feasts on that. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they do it. I mean, I've heard Liverpool fans saying, right, we need to put Hugo Ekitike left wing to get Isak in at 9. I'm sorry.
That's the wrong consideration.
I want Ekitike through the middle.
Yeah, but they're going to have to get both those players in the same team. And this is I think my general point on the Isak Ekitike thing. I think we need to combine them in a weird way, because I personally feel that Ekitike is the one that's going to suffer the most, because he's the one that started the season off so well, looks so strong, and he's going to have diminished minutes because they've gone out there and they've bought players that they didn't really need. And this might sound mad to buy one of the best strikers in the world, to say this, spend all this money. Of course he's going to start. Ekitike would have been a far better striker for Liverpool than Isak will end up being. And if that ends up being egg on my face, then so be it. But I personally believe that. I feel like he's a more complete player, able to bring other players in. And you've seen that with the goal total so far. Like he's done it. He looks very good.
I hate to be the one that this guy's not started well. And the price tag, he deserves this. There's no way, of all the players that have gone to different clubs, he's the most expensive. He doesn't deserve quarter or attitude of, give him time, especially the way he left like a prick, really.
And he's Premier League proven, by the way. It's not a new league. You know what I mean?
Well, do you know what else is proven? I'll say quickly.
He's talented.
The other thing that's proven, he's only going to give you 29 games this season. That has been every fucking season. He's going to miss 7-8 weeks, right? So you've already had 4 of them.
But
so what's he going to do in his last 25?
He might do. Remember, think about how Aguero used to get injured every season, but still be up there, top goal scorer. He'd still be up there. That's what you're going to get with this guy. Even though he's going to have injuries and this, that, and the other, Isak will get right. He's dangerous. Like this guy.
Do you think he'll outscore the rest, KG? Do you think he'll outscore the other players on this list? Bear in mind, he's twice the price.
Are you doing all comps? Are we doing Prem or all comps?
Well, let's say Premier League to make it simple.
If it's Premier League, yes.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, if it's Premier League, because he's.
I don't think he outscores Ekitike personally.
No, but I don't think Ekitike, as you said, is going to be a victim of one. He's not the main man. They bought this guy. He's the most expensive player. If I'm a finance guy, he's on the pitch. You make it work. Play that man. I'm not hearing that. So yeah.
Well, can we grade Isak for a start?
D. Disappointment.
It's got to be a D.
D for
this. D.
Yeah. I reckon C personally.
I think this is a failure of a start, and I think he's got all the time in the world to turn it around and be the player that we know he can be. But if someone said, this is how your British record transfer star is going to perform early on, he's looked shit. Like, he hasn't looked okay. He's looked shit, in my opinion. So I think the pressure's really on, and I'm excited to see how he deals with the pressure, specifically coming from Ekitike, who we're going to talk about next, because I think we've all been blown away by him. The fact that he's come to a new league, he is younger than Isak, and he is seen as the understudy, and he is outperforming him. He's outshining him. And I think there's a lot of people who are going, if this was based on merit, Isak would be on the fucking bench. And I think there is a worry that is the only worry with Ekitike. If he'd have gone to a Man United, a Chelsea, a Newcastle, he would be unstoppable. It's just a case of, are they going to have to drop him or put him in the wrong position or whatever to accommodate their star. But what have you made of Ekit so far, lads?
I've got to be honest with you, and any Arsenal fan will feel this. When you're watching a 6'2", 6'3" French player who likes to drift left and beat a man and finish on his right foot, I want him in my number 14 shirt, man. There's stylistically, and it's the same, Brian. I remember watching one of your streams many, many moons ago where there was talk of comparing Isak to Thierry. And it's like, when you see that style, that balance, the ability to beat a man, even though he's tall, the speed, I'm going, how did we fucking miss this guy? Josh, you like your stats. I remember hearing last season, this guy had the highest total of X assists and XG in Europe when you add the two together.
Unreal.
Everyone knew about this guy. Obviously, Newcastle went for this guy.
We went from years ago. Eddie Howe was onto him before he even went to PSG.
Well, and PSG obviously spotted it. The interesting thing with Liverpool, and I don't want to go over the Isak stuff again, but like, you cannot convince me that they ever planned this summer to get both of them. I don't really know why they did both in the end. The fact they went to Ekit first looks smart, because for me, this is the most exciting striker project, I'll say, in the world right now, in terms of his toolbox, what he's got.
I have to agree with you there. I remember seeing him score early. I think, it's the Charity Shield? He takes that swivel and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they've done it again. That was the feeling. You leave thinking, oh my God, Liverpool have done it again. They found the guy, really. And he looks like, of the bunch, he looks like the most talented of everyone that's moved, the strikers that have moved. You say he's the one, he's the separate. Like, even I still have him, even though he scored less than Multimada, he still feels like that's the best one.
Why is he? And I'm not disagreeing with you, because I think they're two fantastic talents. I love watching them both. But what is it about Ekit that makes you put him above Volto so far? Is it the pace? Because the pace is quite noticeable, I think.
Pace, touch and finish. He can shoot. It's faster than... Look how long Yarez takes to trap it and shoot. No disrespect.
Let's not get onto him yet.
But then I'm just saying, like, as in, he is how quick he gets rid of it is impressive. He looks just like a dangerous striker, but he can link the play really well. Like, and then again, the flair is there as well. You're always going to like players with tech and flair. And I
like the confidence as well from him. Like, I must admit, even though he did that shirt thing, I remember thinking, I like this. Like, I'm just like an arrogant striker who's banging goals in. Like, it's what we grew up on, lads, right? And there's not enough of that swagger and arrogance. And strikers need to be full of themselves. They need, like, as much as Isak, he was a bell end in the summer. That's what part of his makeup, isn't it? It's that I am the guy. And I think it's going to make for an exciting watch to see, because they play with one striker and their whole system has been that way.
It's going to change.
It's going to be exciting to see who does claim that number 9 role out of the two of them and make it their own. And one thing I will say, I did say early on, Isak, he's going to be world class, all of that. I fully backed it within less than half a season, same at Newcastle. But you could, the point you were making earlier about Ekit's level, was Isak quite as high as this when he first came into the league? Maybe, but it's fucking... You wouldn't have a go at anyone for saying Ekit's level is actually starting off higher in the Premier League.
It's early days, though. We've got to remember Amir Zaki looked pretty good for Wigan a few years ago. Do you know
That's what's worrying me about my Marder chat. It is early doors, isn't it? But I think we would all give Ekit what would you guys give him? Actually, I'll let you go first.
A plus
for sure.
Go on, Josh.
No, I was just going to say that I was looking at his shooting numbers. He shoots more than every other player in the Liverpool team. He's getting 2.2 shots away per game. That's the thing. When you were talking about strikers being a bit dicks and being a bit selfish. Yep. This is what I love to see in an out and out number 9. People actually shooting. For me, the way that he's acclimatized to the league, I think he looks really, really strong. And I do. I personally feel, and I mean this, I think Liverpool fans might regret the signing of Isak because they'll stunt the growth of Ekit. And I think ultimately Ekit might have a bigger and better career than an Isak.
On that, if they'd have bought a player who was deliberately signed to be backup for Ekit, and Ekit was anointed as you are the king now, I do think that long term, is it better for Liverpool to not have both of them? That's debatable. But for Ekitike's career, it would be better for his growth.
But it's about the context, isn't it? Because it's not just about signing Isak and signing Ekitike. It's about, if you sign Ekitike, do you need a centre-back? Canate's just gone down injured in France duty. They need so many other areas of the pitch. Yeah. So they're screwed.
Look
so
at the face on him.
But think of the money they could have spent. Think of the amount of cash they could have bought a proper centre-back. And they've gone out and sold it, bought Isak. I think it's bad squad management, personally.
My goodness.
All right. Anyone giving Ekitike anything other than an A? KG?
It's A plus.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Similar price tag for Benjamin Seshko. 5 starts, 2 goals, 66 million plus 7.5. Personally, actually, I'm going to give it to KG. What have you seen from your man?
I'm starting to love him. Now you lot put into consideration my manager's mental. Yeah, that's it. I want you lot to put this into consideration. Yeah. My manager is absolutely crazy. You've seen what he did. I'm just going to use a few things so you understand. He knows Bayern D. He hates the backup keeper, yeah? Has this tall guy called Lamens, yeah? And he just leaves him on the bench for loads of games. And you're saying, what's the reason? You can't tell me the goalkeeper needs to get fit. He doesn't need to run. He has to stand still and save it. That's his job. But my manager says he needs to bed in time. And that's what he did with this striker. He put Mason Mount as the striker. He's done mad things. Cunha as the striker. Play to this man. And it's only in the last game against Sunderland where we saw, okay, you lot finally realize he's tall. Yeah, play the ball up to him the same way we got a result against Chelsea. He's a big part of that. Gets the knock on for Brian Mbeumo. It goes through, gets taken out. Now we're using him as the weapon and it's starting to work. But one thing I did see in that Sunderland game, and yes, the levels, there's not a lot to look at. So you can't say
it's only Sunderland.
It's Sunderland, right? But then what you are getting is someone that's incredibly strong, looks after it, makes the right decisions. I'm liking the striker, and I'm even happy to say my striker scores more than Jacob's striker. I'm happy to do that bet now. Finally, I wasn't doing that before. I'm happy to say my striker scores more than Xiao Pedro in the Premier League. I'm happy to say that.
That's technically incorrect on both accounts, but let's not worry about the numbers.
I'm just saying.
Don't worry about the actual data, because Gyökeres has scored 1 more goal, but don't worry about that.
I'm saying my strike at the end of the season is what I'm saying. I'm happy to take the bet saying my striker will outscore both your strikers.
I'm very happy to take that bet, KG, and let's put as much money on it as possible.
I have to admit, you might be right there. And it's not because I don't rate João Pedro or Yarez at all. It's just the kind of striker Seshko is that I really enjoy. Like, he is an old school number 9 with some of the modern flair that you want to see. He's so, like, when in a few years' time, when he's really filled out, and because he's just still 23, something like that, 22, when he fills out a bit more, and then he can really use that fucking massive frame, even better than what he is right now. When he has Premier League experience, I think he is going to be a really good centre forward. I think he can strike the ball well. I like the fact that he's a nuisance in the box. I like how he can jump like a fucking salmon. Like he's like a basketball player, isn't he? It's fucking unbelievable.
Manchester United are not going to score any goals. Brian, what are you even saying right now? They're going to be in the bottom half of the Premier League table. Yeah. They're not going to score any goals. And you have the audacity to come out here and say he's going to score more goals than João Pedro and Gyökeres. They might win the league, Brian. Arsenal might win the league. And you think Seshko is going to score more goals than him? Are you insane? What's wrong with you?
Let me respond. This is mine to respond to because he's having a go at me first. What I'm saying is, I'll rephrase it. If Seshko was in this Chelsea side, if Seshko was in this Arsenal side, I think he'd get more goals than those two because I think he's more built. Like João Pedro, like you rightly said earlier, he offers a lot. He scores some, he assists some. It's not just about goals with João Pedro in the way it is with Seshko. And I think that single-mindedness and in his frame and that, it makes him more of a physical threat in the box. And I think he's got a better technical ability than Yarez. I think most goalkeepers do, to be honest. But
Can I say this? Can I add this? Because for some strange reason, Josh doesn't understand how football's really working. A guy called Bruno Fernandes got 8 goals and 10 assists and still finished 15th last season. That doesn't make sense.
KG,
possible.
I had Bruno Fernandes in my fantasy football team. He's a cunt. That's all I'm going to say.
All I'm saying, you can score goals, and now we've added, this is the new thing. We didn't have it before, this new weapon. Arsenal do it. That long throw that we saw at Brentford, we finally added it to our game. And I'm telling you, he's going to be there.
Can you believe that this is where we're at with Man United fans? They're celebrating long throws. Can you believe that's what we're at?
We've finally done
what has happened, honestly?
That's how things are working.
All right. I think, personally, I give Seshko, I think the potential is looking good, but equally, it's hard to say he's like made a massive impact yet, but I think he will do. I'll let Josh go first, actually. What do you grade him so far?
I would give Seshko, bearing in mind he's playing in an awful Man United team that look absolutely horrendous still, season after season, even though they've signed all of these players. I think Seshko's actually looking really good. And I actually, when people were talking about signing him in the summer, I never understood why people were so negative about him. Oh, he can't do it in the Premier League. I think he's got all of the ability to do it in the Premier League. As you say, pace, strength, ability to head the ball, really strong shot on him. Like he's a very, very good player. I think the jury's still out on him because I don't think we have the data yet to decide.
Agreed.
So I'd give him a B. Bearing in mind he's playing for Man United.
What are you saying, Jacob?
You're never going to go wrong when you buy the biggest and the fastest player. Do you know what I mean? Coming to the Premier League, it's like, trust that. The question I've got over him is his mentality, because he didn't want to come to Arsenal summer prior because he was worried about displacing Kai Havertz. Now, this time...
That's penalty as well. Remember that?
Yeah, there's that. He's obviously young.
Scored it.
And there is... I do think there's a point to be made about what Josh is saying. Is like, you could put a Wagyu steak in the hands of a Burger King chef and he's not going to make much with it. And I do just worry... That
is such a good comparison, Will. Fuck me, you've nailed that.
I think
a
C so
steak
far...
in the hands of a Burger King chef.
I think a C so far, but I do think we could come back in a few years and look at him and go, okay, this is a serious player, but C so far for me.
Between there, what are you saying, KG?
B-, not his fault as well, I think, but predicting grade, A*. It's going to be amazing.
Fair. Yeah. I think a C right now, but with an honest acceptance that Man United haven't played to his strengths, and what he has shown has been pretty good. It's just been limited. Moving on to the Chelsea boys, Xiao Pedro, 8 starts, 2 goals for 60 million quid. Obviously, Josh rightly pointed out, he's also got 3 assists, so 5 goal contributions, but not as many goals as you would have wanted from a player who's playing striker in place of Liam Dilap. He's been pushed a bit further forward than what he was playing earlier on the season. Josh, what are you made of Xiao Pedro so far?
Look, I think what you've got to also bear in mind is the context of the Club World Cup. I know this is technically going back into last season, but for us, the Chelsea fans, this still is very important to us, bearing in mind we are champions of the world, just to remind everyone. The Xiao Pedro impact that he had coming in to that Club World Cup, bearing in mind he hadn't trained with the team, comes straight in, first game, slaps 2 goals from outside the box, looks an unbelievable player. And look, I get the point about him not necessarily being a striker, but he's come in and said he's an out-and-out number 9. He sees himself playing in that role, and I back him. And I think the ultimate context that we've got to say is he's been playing in games in which Enzo Maresca has effectively forfeited attacking ability. So basically what he's done, we've got red cards, he's taken off every other attacking player other than Xiao Pedro, and he has to feed off scrap. So fair. I think in some of those games, if Robert Sanchez isn't a complete moron, runs out of his box and gets sent off, I think that Man United game would have been different. Goals would have been scored potentially on both sides, but Xiao Pedro would have had more ability to score goals. Same with Brighton. I think there's the team context that has it sort of not helped Xiao Pedro. But I still think if I'm looking at his technical ability, like the way that he beats players, his way that he strikes the ball, I think he's got everything he needs to become an out-and-out number 9 and a number 9 for Chelsea.
Can I ask you a question though? If you, let's say you had a free option, and you could pick from all these strikers that are available, would you have picked him? Would he have been your first pick?
So Look, I think if I was looking at it, I think Ekit probably would have been the first pick for every sporting director. And in fact, we were in for him. This is why. That's why I don't think he's your
third, or I don't even think he's your third pick. I don't think you're picking him net. I don't think you're picking him net.
Xiao Pedro, by the way, Newcastle was sniffing around him, and Chelsea immediately went from. So like he was high up on their priorities.
No, but I'm saying right now for Josh, since we're comparing all these strikers, if you are now picking out of these players to get, you picked Ekit first. Who are you picking second?
But look, you've got to look at the context of it. Like,
answer the question. Answer the damn question.
He's a politician.
He's gone,
if you let me finish, I'll explain my point. If you let me finish, I'll explain my point.
Not Xiao Pedro.
So no, it would be Xiao Pedro because of what he's done for Chelsea. He came in to a Club World Cup tournament in which we were going to be going out. We looked knackered. We didn't have strikers. We weren't going to score goals. Jackson was on the beach, didn't really want to be there. And he changed it.
Just to confirm your bullshit lie. Just to confirm your bullshit lie. I just asked you, out of all the strikers you could have had, you're telling me it's Xiao Pedro ahead of Isak. Xiao Pedro ahead of Volto. Xiao Pedro ahead of... Don't lie. He's not even a true 9, bro. Don't lie. Stop this nonsense.
You just said Isak isn't playing very well for Liverpool. Imagine what he'd be like for Chelsea.
You think you wouldn't?
Volto is a complete unknown. We still don't know how good he's going to be. I've seen Xiao Pedro score goals from outside the area, top bins. In a very competitive game.
You're just being a Chelsea fan.
He's a quality player.
You're just being a Chelsea fan. You're not here to be honest.
At the end of the day,
you're not here to have integrity and honesty, bro. Because you know you're not picking him as your. You're not picking him.
KG's woken up. KG's woken up.
I love this. I love this because he's got a striker that he's making out. He would want to be number one for his team as well.
I'm picking my striker over Xiao Pedro every day of the week. When I look at all these players, your one is not the true 9. Your one is not the true 9, and you know that.
I'm interested to hear from Josh about the fact that Xiao Pedro has declared, because I wasn't aware of this, that he is a 9. Is that something that was said in an interview, or
he did it straight away? It was an interview with the club. The club asked him, "What is your preferred position?" And he said, "I am a striker." I can play a striker. What
does this look like? What does this look like? You know, when you have to tell people I'm a bad boy, I have to tell girls I'm rich. You don't. If you're there, you don't have to tell people. He knows that he doesn't look like that. Not saying anyway. I'm not gonna, because I'm just gonna get us cancelled. But I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
6 foot.
What I love about this, right, is that KG, because he's been so hurt and torn by the tactics of Amorim. No, listen, KG, because you don't quite know the system and the way that modern football plays, the way that players switch positions, the way that tactics change, the way that in game we can change our formation because we're not limited to a system that doesn't quite work in the Premier League. And basically is about 10 years old. So if you've been looked after by a manager that actually knows what they're doing tactically, like an Enzo Seshko might be scoring a few more goals. All I know because he has some flexibility there. That's all I'm saying, my friend.
Haven't had to say what they are. We know. We haven't had to tell people.
Can I go to Jacob? Because Jacob, the one thing you said at the start of the season was there was a concern about Xiao Pedro, not as a footballer. And by the way, like James Milner, I can't remember when he said it, but when he was at Brighton, he said, this kid's a £100 million player, by the way. Like, he was raving about how good he is. And I don't think the question is Xiao Pedro a good footballer? It's how he compares as a striker. And Jacob, you were saying earlier in the season that you were worried about the lack of goals. Josh has pointed out the assists, but 2 goals in 8 starts. Is that something where you're now more believing what you were saying earlier, or do you think that's harsh?
So I pointed out that he'd got 14 non-penalty goals in the last 3 years before moving to Chelsea. And I do you know who he reminds me of? And it's the same thing of, I'm a 9. No, I'm definitely a 9. Gabby Jesus did exactly the same thing before moving to Arsenal. And I think there's a lot of comparisons between the players' technical ability. Xiao Pedro is obviously a little bit bigger. I really like Xiao Pedro, and I have to say I would have really liked him at Arsenal. I think what you were saying earlier about could there have been someone else to go to Liverpool to complement and work with Ekit, I think it could have been Xiao Pedro. I think you can compare the success Liverpool had with Robert Firmino with Xiao Pedro and how facilitative he is of other players. I really like Xiao Pedro. I'm not 100% sure it suits Chelsea's squad, in that I don't know if you have the wingers who are going to get 20 goals a season when Pedro doesn't, because he's a creator. I think the irony is with a lot of this conversation, I think there's a lot of really good players who moved this summer who don't suit the squads they've gone to. We've spoken about the fact that Isak and Ekit, can they work together? Are they trying to do the same things? Do they want the same areas of the pitch? I think Pedro could have really worked at other clubs who've got deadly wingers, such as Bukayo Saka. I look at Chelsea, I'm like, I kind of think you needed a bulldozer, someone who's going to go, give me the ball, I'm going to finish. That's what I want to do.
We've got one.
He's injured. He's injured.
Dilap is the definition of a bulldozer.
I get your point. I think there's questions about Dilap's level. I really like Pedro. I'm not going to sit here and knock him. I just wonder if he's the right
what
type
you graded
of player.
him, Jacob? What you graded him?
I'd give him a B-. I think he's going to finish. And I think the way you phrased it is right. He's maybe the best footballer of this conversation. I just don't know if he's going to score enough goals to give Chelsea what they need when Pedro Neto gets 6 goals, when Gittins looks like he wants to go back to Germany. Do you know what I mean? I think looking at that squad, you needed a 20-goal-a-season striker. I don't know if he's it. So B- for me.
KG?
Yeah, I saw him score some good headers. He's inventive. I go over B. B. He's a good player.
What do you think,
B+. He's on the cusp of an A for me, bearing in mind the entire context of the Club World Cup and the Premier League as well. And I think he's been, unfairly treated in the Premier League with the way that we've had to remove players from teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think Josh's point about the sendings off and how that fucked his ability to score goals in games. I think he would have more goals, but that now needs to be rectified. Like if we're looking at this as like an initial review of players like coming in, for me, if there's a conversation with João Pedro from the manager, it's like on both sides, we need to work harder in order to get him to score goals. So a B would be fair. Last one on the list, pretty much a non-entity. Vissa, who moved to Newcastle, 55 million.
We haven't spoke about Yarez as well, by the way.
We've got to speak about Yarez.
Sorry,
yeah.
That's how memorable he's been. That's how memorable he's been.
Sorry. Well, Vissa's a non-entity anyway, because the guy got injured and now, it's a waste of time. So that's an F. Yarez, we were going to speak on him earlier. We're finally here, Jacob. The floor is yours, mate. How are you finding him?
I think for 55...
where is Timberlands? How many Timberlands has he got?
I think for £55 million, he's not a bad second striker. I think when you
second striker as well, I love it. I fucking love it. Kai Havertz, number 9.
I'll be really honest with you. I think there's been ups and downs with him. He's only scored in 2 games, two goals that aren't penalties. I look at games against Olympiacos at home. You've got to score a goal. I think what you're seeing here is there's a big difference between being big and fast in Portugal and being big and fast in the Premier League. Welcome to England, mate. Everyone's big, everyone's fast. He's not getting shots away quick enough. That was a big thing in Portugal. He got loads of shots off every game. He's not doing it here. I think the person who'll be most happy with Yarez's form will be Kai Havertz, because he'll be saying, thank you, mate. Thanks for keeping the seat warm. I'm ready to come back and do my thing.
But do we have a bet on that, Jacob? I can't remember if we had a bet on that.
Okay, 9 starts and 3 goals, by the way. And I don't think we would have the excuses that João Pedro has about what else he contributes. Like Yarez's whole job is to be on the last defender and driving towards goal. And I'll give him one thing: it's not for the one to try, and he fucking tries. But the technical ability is just lacking.
Just on that, Brian. One thing, he's not gonna. He makes about 6 passes a game and he misses half of them, right? So he's not going to be facilitative in that sense. But what he does do, and I have to give him this, he occupies defenders. He runs, you have to run with him. He keeps people busy. And I do think it's helped the rest of our forwards. And I think the rest of our forwards are going to be saying, you know what, I actually quite like playing with Yarez. Because it's the first time in 3 years we've had a striker who wants to be a striker. Kai Havertz fucks off into midfield. Gabby Jesus might as well be serving beers in the stadium. He's so reluctant to get in the box. Like, we've got someone who wants to be a 9. The reason we did him and not Seshko was money. And I think when you consider the Yarez purchase, forget the player, but if you're going to rate the purchase, we did 55 million quid. It means we've got Eze. It means we've got to let it all work out. It means we've got other players. And I think if you're looking at Arsenal this summer, I think we look like City a few years before they bought Haaland, where we're not going to have a 25 goal a season striker, but we're probably going to have 3 or 4 players who get 12 or 15. And that's why I'm not pissed off that we did it. He's run his socks off. He's going to be a rotational player when Havertz is back. I give him a C. I'll give Yarez a C.
Yeah.
£55 million rotational player. What a world we live in right now.
That is the world, Josh.
No, it is.
Don't come to me with that shit, mate, because you've got...
You know what?
Your squad looks like the fucking... Your squad looks like the queue for Bolly Blue, mate. You've got enough £55 million boys that you can't even remember their names. You and Joey haven't got enough time to talk about the amount of £55 million boys just fucking... They got their trainers on in the blue.
Oh,
Don't fucking talk to me about £55 million players who can't get into a team.
You know what you've actually done on there. I love how much you triggered. Well, you got a chance to get your own back a little bit because I forgot to mention earlier Liam Dilap, who it was only a £30 million buy, which
bargain.
In this market is not huge money for a striker. However, he made 2 starts and he didn't score yet outside of like friendlies beforehand and that. How are you feeling about the signing of Liam Dilap, Josh?
I fucking love it because in my toolbox I've got a sledgehammer and I've got a scalpel, and I'm very happy that the scalpel is playing right now and he's scoring goals, unlike some other strikers. And then we've got a sledgehammer ready to come in when he's fit and ready, when we've reattached the handle to him, and he can come in and play. I think Dilap, right? There's so much chat about all this money. We're looking at 55 million, 60 million, 69 million, 125 million, 52 million for strikers. We've signed an English under-21 level striker who will be coming into the England squad very, very soon for £30 million, and every other team wanted him. Like Man City wanted him. Good. I mean, Newcastle wanted him. United wanted him. And he chose Chelsea because he was sold on the project, and he does look really good when he's played. He looks really, really encouraging. Does that mean he's going to be the starting number 9 week in, week out for Chelsea? Not necessarily, because Xiao Pedro looks really good. I think he's a very, very good option. And I think what we've really lacked in recent years is having that alternative to, the Jackson. If you've got that pacey player that can run in behind, hold on to the ball, have you got that technical player that can break up, a low block? Dilap is going to be that guy that will just go through those sort of like teams that are playing a low block. I'm really excited to see it. The biggest worry that we've got, and I think this is a very real worry, bearing in mind our injury record at Chelsea, is whether he'll come back fit after a very significant hamstring injury. That can be it can be a killer.
Runner, isn't he?
I compare him to, remember Diego Costa for like a bastard. He's a total, when you watch this guy play, honestly, he's like a shithouse and he likes it. He's up for it. I think he gets excited. When he hits a defender or takes someone down, he smiles about it. Remember, look at his dad, who his dad is. He's come from, he grew up watching them days at Stoke. He was in the crowd. He's up for it. And that's why I think he'd be the man. And this is why Xiao Pedro has to watch himself. He does have to watch himself.
My only question is the level of technical ability is unknown. I'm not saying it's bad or good or what. I'm just still like, all right, I need to see more of this kid because it was a very
came through at City though, innit? Didn't he? Is he a City youngster?
He was. And this is why Maresca knows him. And also, let's put the context in because we're talking about Premier League proven. He got 14 goal contributions for Ipswich. That's a very good return. I'm sorry to say it. Yeah. That's a very good return.
And that's why it should go well for him. It should do. I'd personally give it a C start because it's hard to say, because he got injured after 2 games. But let's rank these lads. Number 1.
On current form, is that what we're doing?
What we've seen so far this season.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm going to go out Ekit for me.
Ekit.
Number 1.
I like that.
I'll complain a little. For me, Volto, as much as Ekit has been unbelievable, there's no way to say it any different. He has scored more goals than Ekit in less games. And also, he's not playing for the Premier League champions. He's not getting the ball in the final third constantly. This is a guy who's lived on scraps, and I mean scraps, aside from that Champions League game. And he's done it against a big side in Arsenal. And I think, given the fact that he was the surprise package and that out of nowhere he was he didn't have all of that time to prepare. He had similar issues to Isak, but he came and delivered, and off the back of a massive hole that had been left from Isak. I think Volto, statistically, in terms of goals per shot, I don't even need to check the stats. I already know Volto's striking accuracy will be higher. I know his passing accuracy will be higher. I bet he's been tackled less on the ball. As a footballer, I know it's electrifying watching Ekit run a goal, but as a footballer, I think Volto's had a better start.
Yeah, after all that said, what Volto has got him on is he's got shooting accuracy 60%, he's got a conversion rate of 60%, he's got a passing accuracy of 85%, he's got ball recoveries of 2.7 per game, which is more than any of the other strikers that we're mentioning so far. So yeah,
said though,
back up what you're
still
saying.
Number 2, lads.
If you say
I'd
I'm
go
happy
two.
I'm still number two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think if you're ranking them on like the quality of the player that they are, I feel like Ekit has shown his quality more than Volto has. And I think it's close, but I think like if we're just doing on quality, Ekitike's look
what you've just said blows my mind. And I don't mean that as but like, because I'm watching him week in, week out. Here's the thing. Volto has done things that I've never seen a 6'6" man do on a football pitch. Like, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching here? Like, this looks like a world-class footballer. It can't be. There's no way. Like, we could, like, but he's looking like one. And the way there was a game in Champions League where he had 4 players around him. The trickery he did, it went viral. Like, the penalty he took, it went viral because it was like, that's not a penalty we see. So, quality-wise, I think Volto has shown as much, if not more, than Ekit. But that's just my opinion. We'll leave it there. Second place, if you're happy with Volto, we'll leave. Yeah. In third, and I think this is where it gets interesting, what we're saying, we've got Isak, Seshko, Xiao, Pedro. Any of those who are starting in third place for you?
For me, it's Xiao Pedro, but I'm inherently biased. Ooh. And I think the way that he's actually got assists unlike any other striker in this thing, which ultimately is as important as goals sometimes with the way that he brings players in. I think the goal contributions total, the contributions that he's done in the Club World Cup as well, the goals that he scored in that, I think he looks like a quality player. And I think ultimately a lot of other Premier League fans do is they underrate him. So I'd have him in number 3.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah,
I'll sign that off. Yeah.
I don't know.
And then number 4,
Seshko. Yeah.
I actually had Seshko in here as well.
Yeah.
Seshko,
I agree.
Number 4.
I think that's fair.
And I don't think we can put the injured boys in. So it's basically...
No, they're lost.
For last place, it's between Yarez and Isak.
It's got to be Yarez. He scored goals. He's top of the league. He's top of the league.
He's top of the league. He's probably top of the league because of the Arsenal defence rather than because of how good he is.
You know what it is, though? You're actually right, though.
He has to be him. He has to be.
Nah, I'm not having that. Isak is...
No, you can't do that. That's a legacy
17
one.
times the player that
No, but you're doing it on legacy. We said if it's on current... You're getting on legacy. That's what I said. If we're going on legacy,
KG. Jacob, one second. KG, who would you rather have up front for Man United right now?
Yeah, I know that.
Out of those two.
Immediately, Isak.
Let me make the point, Josh. Yarez got a goal in every 3 games. Isak's got a goal in every 4 games right now. And to be fair, like, Isak's looking pretty horrible. So I do think he deserves the bottom place, actually.
I've seen compilations of Yarez in which I've seen Sunday League players look better than him.
He's got the goal, though. I hear what you're saying, but you have to go
every time he touches the ball, the touch is 5 yards in front.
No, but that's not...
It's a disgrace that we're even talking about.
He's the defender trapped in a striker's body.
Wait, now you're taking the piss.
He literally... honestly, I think Harry Maguire's got a better first touch.
No, you lot are taking liberties. We have to be... If we said at the beginning...
Jacob agrees. Jacob doesn't even want him in the job. Jacob wants Kai Havertz to play.
No, you're
Kai Havertz, a player that he actually actively dislikes. Wants Kai Havertz in. He's gone through the 8 stages of grief of Kai Havertz, still wants him in the team.
To keep the integrity of what we said at the beginning of the show, at the outset of the show, we said we're going to grade them on now, just on now, because if we've done it on legacy or what we know they are, then Isak is at the top. But right now, Yarez is enjoying more.
Yarez.
He has to be there.
Fair enough. Isak, rock bottom.
Yeah.
How'd you like that? Brilliant. Love it. Love to hear it.
You've done exactly what Brian wants. It's a disgrace.
Long may it
continue,
it's a disgrace, lads, honestly. Long may it continue. That was our rankings. Let us know what your rankings were in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.